And a good evening to you, race fans and short track fans. Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Short Track Racing. My name is Jake Wilson. Happy to be back with you guys this week to discuss what was a very eventful weekend in the short track world and kind of take a look ahead at what we've got coming up next in the short track world as seasons are starting to wind down up in the Midwest and the Northeast, and some big money crown jewel events are starting to pop up down here in the Southeast as the 2025 racing season is getting ready to come to a head here shortly. We'll discuss some of the great racing action that we saw over this past weekend. A busy weekend at Five Flag Speedway, their Night of Champions, where super late model and pro late model champions were crowned. So we've got some automatic lock-in entries for both the Snowball Derby as well as the Snowflake 125. We're also going to talk about what took place at Martinsville Speedway, the Valley Credit Union 300 for the late model stocks, one of the biggest races of the season in the late model stock world. We'll talk about that as well as preview the Cars Tour with their next event coming up this next weekend here at Tri-County Speedway. We'll talk about that a little bit. UARA was in action this last weekend with the UARA Sportsman Series. We'll take a look back at the Duco Performance 75 that took place at Auburndale Speedway this last Saturday night, as well as previewing the UARA National Tour's next upcoming event, which is going to take place this weekend at the Mobile International Speedway, the Johnny's RV Backyard Brawl 125. We'll give you a little bit of a preview of that event coming up as well. And we're going to have a special guest joining us here on the program tonight. We're going to get to know one of the drivers that's taking part in the Kulwicki Driver Development Program, a driver that maybe a lot of folks haven't quite heard about just yet, but you're going to get a chance to get introduced tonight to young Noah Eisenhower, and a fascinating young man who looking forward to chat with him a little bit later on, talk about what he's been doing in 2025, kind of talk about his start in racing and what's led him to this point and where he's at. And I love catching up with drivers that are involved in the Kulwicki Driver Development or the program there. It's one of my absolute favorite. I don't want to call it like it's a program, but like it's one of these things where you think about kids that are looking to get scholarships to go to college. You don't necessarily hear a lot about scholarships in racing. It's exactly what the Kulwicki program does. And Noah's one of the young drivers that's being represented by them this year. We'll catch up with him a little bit later on and kind of get his story and where he got started in racing and some of the things that he's got going on. This is a fascinating young man. I'm looking forward to getting to pick his brain a little bit here tonight as well. So we're going to take a look back at what was this last weekend in short track racing. And at Pensacola, Florida, it was the final super late model and final pro late model races of the season. They call it Night of Champions. And they crowned a champion in both the Blizzard Series as well as the Allen Turner Pro Late Models, getting ready to wrap up their 2025 season. And remember, if you're a champion of both the Allen Turner Pro Late Models or a champion of the Blizzard Series, that is an automatic lock-in into the starting lineup for both the Snowflake and for the Snowball Derby. Coming in for the Super Late Models, they had a 23-car field. I believe they had 24 cars. They had a car that I think had issues after qualifying that wasn't able to start the feature, but a great field of cars. And the last opportunity for super late model drivers to get some on-track racing testing action for this year's Snowball Derby that'll be taking place the first weekend in December. And let's talk about the driver that started on the pole, got quick time, and went on to win the race. This is a driver that's really come on strong late in the going in the 2025 season. He's been racing all season long in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, as well as select super late model races throughout the country. And that's young Dawson Sutton. Dawson Sutton has rallied off some big wins down the stretch in both the ASA Stars Tour, as well as this being a Southern Super Series event as well. And of course, being the Blizzard Series there at Five Flag Speedway. Sutton has really made a name for himself here in this season. And maybe you're going to see, sometimes you see that confidence build, not only in the super late model, then carry over into the truck series. As I know, the Craftsman Truck Series, unless your name has been Corey Heim, it's been pretty difficult to get to victory lane this year. But I feel like Dawson might be a driver that can potentially snag a win late in the season here, maybe pull a little bit of an upset. But over on the super late model side, as we get closer and closer to the start of the Snowball Derby, and think about some of the big events that we still have in 2025. You still got the Winchester 400. You still got the World Crown 300 coming up. You've also got the All-American 400 as well as the Florida Governor's Cup still coming up. There's some big races that Dawson Sutton plans to factor in at, and I feel like he's a driver that has quickly gone up the list of favorites of drivers who could potentially take home that Tom Dawson Trophy later this year in the Snowball Derby with his Rackley War Racing team. He was able to hold off Carson Brown, who continues to have a great year for the Anthony Campy Racing team. Matt Craig in his number 54, getting to run with the Hampke House Car team as well, brought it home in third. Jake Finch, who had a busy night, we'll get to a little bit more on Jake here in a little bit. He brought it home in fourth, and he held off Cole Butcher, who's been really, really tough to beat at Five Flag Speedway here lately. So Butcher rounding out your top five. Some other notables in the field: defending Snowball Derby champion Caden Honeycutt brought it home in eighth. Bubba Pollard racing with an injured hand that's going to require some surgery, so we may not see Bubba in some of these big events down the stretch. But I would think that Bubba's going to do everything he can to make sure that he's ready to go for the Snowball Derby later this year. He brought it home in ninth. Stephen Nassy brought it home in 10th. And a driver that was able to be a part of the super late model field, bringing it home in 12th, former NASCAR Cup Series champion and future NASCAR Hall of Famer Kevin Harvick brought it home in 12th. We'll get to talk about what Keelan did. His young son Keelan was there as well in the pro late models. So as we look ahead, Cole Butcher, 2025 Blizzard Series champion, automatically locked into the Snowball Derby for this year. 21 points ahead of Matt Craig, who had a strong showing this year at Five Flag Speedway. Jake Finch, Stephen Nassy, and Bubba Pollard all rounding out the top five in the Blizzard Series standings this year. So congrats again to Cole Butcher and the Donnie Wilson Racing team, wrapping up that championship and locking in to this year's Snowball Derby starting field. Over on the Alan Turner Pro Late Models side, they had a great 25-car field, great field of pro late models, as we've seen that number continue to rise throughout the season as we get closer and closer to the Snowflake 125. And in that action, friend of the program, former guest on this show, Spencer Davis, went back to victory lane, having a just fantastic year with the Ben Kennedy Racing team and in pro late model action, as Spencer Davis was able to pick up the win. Got the win over Jake Finch, who I know Jake was upset about being the bridesmaid and not being able to bring home the victory. But with his second place finish, Jake Finch is the champion in the Alan Turner Pro Late Models, capping off a great 2025 season for him. That Ronnie Sanders number 18 racing team. You also had in the top five there, you had Seth Christensen rounding out the top three in the podium. Keelan Harvick able to bring it home in fourth, a driver that doesn't have a ton of experience at Five Flag Speedway, starting to kind of gain a little bit of experience as we get closer and closer to the Snowflake. And rounding out your top five in the Alan Turner Pro Late Models, you had Luke Yarbrough, a driver that's been a regular over at Cordial Motor Speedway for the last few years. So we mentioned Jake Finch winning the championship, got that championship win over Seth Christensen, as well as Mobile, Alabama's Dustin Smith, who rounded out the top three. As far as Five Flag Speedway goes, they've got a special event coming up with sprint cars coming up here. But other than that, all eyes and all focus are starting to shift towards Snowball Derby week. Of course, the Snowflake 125 taking place on December the 6th there on Saturday night. And then Sunday, December the 7th, it'll be the running for the Tom Dawson Trophy, the Snowball Derby. Sticking in the ASA world, if you take a look at the Southern Super Series, remember the Blizzard Series events run under the Southern Super Series banner, and Bubba Pollard able to take advantage of the night. He's got a very, very slim point lead as their season gets ready to wrap up. Only 4 points ahead of Cole Butcher, 29 points ahead of Matt Craig as their season gets ready to wind down. Next event coming up for the Southern Super Series, it's a non-points event, but it is going to be the World Crown 300 coming up at Cordial Motor Speedway. Also another non-points event later this season, of course, is going to be the All-American 400, but the Southern Super Series will run under that banner as well. And their final points race of the season, just one race left, going to be coming up on November the 15th at New Smyrna Speedway in Florida. That is going to be, of course, the Florida Governor's Cup. I look forward to seeing that. And if Bubba can take home a Southern Super Series championship, or if Cole Butcher can gain those final 4 points needed to capture the championship. Also, taking a look at the Midwest Tour, they've got their final event coming up this weekend. It is Oktoberfest. That's going to take place at La Crosse. We're going to talk about that race a little bit later on, coming up with our guest tonight, Noah Eisenhower, as he plans to be one of the drivers that chases that victory here this weekend. That's going to be October 5th. And what a tight points battle we have there in the ASA Midwest Tour. Gabe Summers comes into the final event of the season with just a 3-point lead over Casey Johnson, as Summers and Johnson have been going back and forth all season long in the ASA Midwest Tour, and it's going to come down to this one final event to determine who the 2025 champion is. Over on the CRA Super Series sides, 2 more races for them. You'll have the Winchester 400 coming up on October the 12th, and then again the All-American 400 November the 9th at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Gavin Boschel, a 21-point advantage over Cole Butcher and 32 points ahead of Chase Pincinel with the final 2 races of that tour coming up. And then, of course, the ASA Stars Tour. They're going to run under their final 2 points races are also going to be those 2 final CRA events. So it'll be the Winchester 400 and the All-American 400. And in the ASA Stars Tour, it has been all Cole Butcher all season long. He's got a 97-point advantage over Carson Brown as he looks to try to cap off a national championship tour again here this year. With the Donnie Wilson Racing Team, that's going to be coming up over the course of these final 2 races. Can he hold off and claim the national championship with the Stars Tour? So a lot going on there in the super late model world. As we're looking forward to seeing how the championships are going to shake out with that. But Stars Tour, the Southern Super Series, not the only racing series that were in action. We had some great racing all throughout the Southeast as well this last weekend. You had action with the UARA Sportsman Series taking place at the Central Florida Bull Ring at Auburndale Speedway. We've also got the UARA National Tour coming up this weekend at Mobile. We want to get you set and ready to go for that event, as well as we're going to recap the Valley Star Credit Union 300 from Martinsville Speedway this last weekend. So we're going to step aside and get ready to take a quick break here on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. And when we come back, we'll do a little recap and preview of what's coming up this weekend with both UARA and what took place at Martinsville, as well as the Cars Tour. We'll be back in just a moment here on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast.
Race Car Engineering is your single source supplier for all your racing equipment. Dirt, asphalt, drag strip, street rod, or off-road. Their experts can keep you on the track and in the lead no matter what type of racing you do. Hundreds of brands, thousands of parts. Find them online at racecareng.com or call them toll-free at 800-882-7231 and make sure to ask for your free catalog. That's Race Car Engineering, 800-882-7231.
5-Star Bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-Star.
When the heat's on, chill harder with Just Chillin' cooling products. Stay frosty, keep it cool, keep it fast, just chillin'.
Buying or selling a home? It's more than a transaction, it's a strategy. I'm Amy Lynn, and I bring clarity, confidence, and results to your real estate journey. Whether you're searching for the perfect place to call home or preparing to list your home for top dollar, I've got you covered. With smart marketing, strong negotiation, and a network you can trust, I don't just help clients close, I help them win. Let's make your next move the right one.
And we are back on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast as we were kind of recapping things that took place over the weekend up at Five Flags Speedway, as well as taking a look at some of the big super late model events that are coming up over on the ASA side of things here for the remainder of 2025. It's going to certainly set up to be a great conclusion of the season, but we had some other great action throughout the Southeast this last weekend. A race that I got to be a part of down at the Auburndale Speedway, the Central Florida Quarter Mile Bull Ring, was where the UARA Sportsman Series returned to action. It was their 8th race of the 2025 season, but it was their first race back from their summer break, a break that took nearly about 3 months. It was about over 100 days, 105 days exactly, of when the last time the UARA Sportsman Series was on track. It was back at the Auburndale Speedway back in the middle of June, where they ran a series of Twin 50 events. But you fast forward here 3 months, drivers have had all summer long to work on their cars, make adjustments, make preparations, maybe go out and travel a little bit and or race locally, or maybe take some time off with their family. But I know the drivers and teams, they were itching to get back to the Speedway and get back together again with the UARA Sportsman Series. A little bit of a change was made to the format for the event at Auburndale Speedway, which a track that has previously hosted a series of Twin 50 events, so it would count as 2 feature events with 2 winners and 2 trophies. They decided to shrink and condense this event down to just 1 feature, but they added some laps to it to make it a 75-lap feature. It was the Duco Performance 75. Had a great field of sportsmen on hand. They had 27 cars pre-register for the event. 25 cars were able to be there to make it out for qualifying. We had 1 car that had issues following qualifying that wasn't able to start the event. So a 24-car field, I feel like, is the perfect number around that little bull ring. Dodge Carlbert had to wait over 100 days as the points leader to get back out on track as the defending series champion. Driver that's been to victory lane 3 times this year. He was itching to get back on track to try to get closer and closer to possibly taking home his 2nd championship and becoming the first driver in UARA Sportsman Series history to win back-to-back champions. Got his night off on a great start. Did what he's done a lot this year and over the last couple of years, and that was win the Merco All-Purpose Cleaner Time Award. But with the UARA Sportsman Series, there is always going to be an invert. It's always going to be an invert of at least 4 to 9 cars. It's the roll of a 6-sided die plus 3. And on the night, Dodge rolled a 3. That meant that he was going to start in the 6th position on the outside of row number 3. So that meant that Right Foot Down Motorsports driver Tim Sozio, previous winner earlier this year at Auburndale Speedway, was going to roll off from the pole position. And it was very apparent from the beginning that not only did Tim Sozio have a fast car, but the outside line was just not where you wanted to be Saturday night at Auburndale Speedway. Drivers were fighting for the bottom. You saw a long 23-lap green flag run to start the race, and then once they got into a period of cautions, drivers that picked the outside absolutely struggled. So you would see they use kind of the Bowman Gray choose cone like you'll see in NASCAR as well, where you saw 3, 4, sometimes even 5 cars in a row electing to go to the bottom groove versus the outside. So drivers were not really willing to take the risk and go to the outside. And Dodge Carlbert, who started on the outside of row number 3, dropped several positions early on and tried to use that outside any chance he could on a restart to try to gain some positions and gain some momentum, but just was not able to do so. Same could be said up at the front of the field. Sozio had just a fast enough car to where he could hold off cars on the outside and keep the cars that restarted behind him on the inside right behind him for the entirety of the race. As Tim Sozio would go on to win the race, leading all 75 laps of the Duco Performance 75, picking up his 2nd victory of the season, third overall in the UARA Sportsman Series, and his third victory at the Auburndale Speedway. He held off Adam Briggs, who was a winner earlier this year at the Freedom Factory. Brandon Morris, a former series champion, brought it home in third. Jimmy Frazier, a driver that was making his first start of the season, who finished top 5 in points last year, he brought it home in fourth. And one of the top rookie candidates for the UARA Sportsman Series, Hayden Mowry, he would bring it home in fifth, rounding out the top 5. Dodge Carlbert, finishing just outside of the top 5, did manage to bring it home in sixth. So he didn't lose a ton of points on the night, and he has set himself up pretty nicely for the final points race of the season. That's going to take place coming up on October the 18th at the Freedom Factory. It's going to be the Mellon 175 for the UARA Sportsman Series. Carlbert has a 32-point advantage over Adam Briggs, a 34-point advantage over Brandon Morris. So when you break it down from the points perspective, if Adam Briggs were to go on and win the race, Carlbert, he's only got to finish 18th or better because of a tiebreaker rule. So if Carlbert is able to finish 18th or better, even with a Briggs victory, he would secure the championship. And then same with Brandon Morris, just one position more, 19th or better if Morris were to win. And for Carlbert, he would become only the second driver in history to win multiple championships in the UARA Sportsman Series. But as I mentioned earlier, he'd be the first ever to do it back-to-back. That's going to be October the 18th, the Mellon 175 for the UARA Sportsman Series at the Freedom Factory. It's also going to feature the Oscar Holmes Memorial Pure Stock 60, remembering the life of a former employee both at the Freedom Factory and down at Port Charlotte's Punta Gorda or 417 Southern Speedway, former flagman Oscar Holmes. Expecting a huge turnout and huge car count for Pure Stocks. That's going to be a big 60-lap event. We're also going to have Crown Vics on for that night as well, and that is going to be able to be seen live on Racing America. Sticking in the UARA world, the UARA National Tour rolls on as they will be in action this weekend at Mobile International Speedway. This is going to be the Johnny's RV Backyard Brawl 125. It's going to pay $7,500 to win, and it is going to be the second to last race of the season for the UARA National Tour. Remember, the series is going to wrap up their season Saturday, November 29th with the 10th annual Bill Bigley Senior Memorial 128. Details of that event are going to be coming out here shortly. You're going to have some sponsorship information coming out, as well as the much-anticipated announcement of the purse. You're going to see some of the very best from the state of Florida. And I would not be surprised if the trend continues. You're going to probably see anywhere from 8 to 12, maybe even more drivers making the trip down from the Midwest to come down and compete at Bradenton, Florida's Freedom Factory on Saturday night, November the 29th, a little bit later on the season. So for the UARA National and the UARA Sportsman Tour, they've got some big races coming up here over the course of the next few weeks. Also in the short track world, if you headed up to Martinsville, Virginia, Martinsville Speedway, it was the 30th annual running of the Valley Star Credit Union 300 at Martinsville Speedway for the late model stock cars, one of the biggest events of the year. Drivers, the pressure of making this race and getting through the heat races to just even qualify for the event is about as stressful as it comes. And there was no shortage of action throughout the race. You had great battles going on at the front of the field and an absolutely star-studded field of some of the very best late model stock drivers from the Mid-Atlantic region, as well as into the Carolinas, and drivers from all walks of racing life that go to try to compete and win one of the biggest prizes in all of racing. And for the second time in his career, Landon Pembleton was the winner of the Valley Star Credit Union 300 in an epic battle at the end of the race, holding off veteran short tracker Lee Polium, a driver that doesn't get to get behind the wheel as often as he used to, but he jumps behind the wheel every chance he gets there at Martinsville, and Lee nearly pulled it off, but he and Landon came down to a great battle, and a battle right to the finish line and right to the end. They held off Jared Fryer, who finished in third. You had Ty Majeski also a one-off event for him in the late model stock car world. He brought it home in sixth. Connor Hall brought it home in 11th, and that was good enough for him to secure the 2025 Virginia Triple Crown prize, which was a nice $20,000 payday for the driver that's a regular competitor in the Cars Tour. Speaking of the Cars Tour, they are going to be in action coming up this weekend. They're going to be at Tri-County Speedway as their season gets ready to wrap up. They'll compete at Tri-County this weekend, and then just a couple of weeks away, they'll be back at the North Wilkesboro Speedway to conclude the 2025 season for both the Pro Late Models and Late Model stock cars. On the Pro Late Model side, Ben Mayer coming in with a 34-point lead over Brandon Lopez as he looks to secure the 2025 championship on the Pro Late Model side. And over on the Late Model stock car side, it's Landon Lewis coming in to the event at Tri-County Speedway with an 18-point advantage over Connor Hall and 32 points over Cade Brown. So we'll keep you updated, and we'll have all the results and get you up to speed with everything that goes on at Tri-County Speedway this weekend on next week's edition of Let's Talk Short Track Racing. So in the meantime, we have got a great guest coming up here in just a moment. We're going to be introducing you to one of the drivers that is a part of the Kulwicki Driver Development Program and their scholarship program. I love getting to hear from drivers that qualify for this program and what their experiences are getting involved in this program that Tom Roberts has been putting on in honor of his late great friend, NASCAR Hall of Famer Alan Kulwicki. We'll talk to the young driver that has a great story, and I'm looking to hear a little bit more and get a little bit more information. And when we come back here on Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast, we're going to hear from young Noah Eisenhower, one of the latest drivers to be a part of the Kulwicki Driver Development Program there, and we will bring you that coming up here when we come back on this week's edition of the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast.
Race Car Engineering is your single source supplier for all your racing equipment. Dirt, asphalt, drag strip, street rod, or off-road. Their experts can keep you on the track and in the lead no matter what type of racing you do. Hundreds of brands, thousands of parts. Find them online at racecareng.com or call them toll free at 800-882-7231 and make sure to ask for your free catalog. That's Race Car Engineering, 800-882-7231.
5-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance, the highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
And we are back on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. Jake Wilson back with you again here, just kind of recapping some of the events that have been taking place over this past weekend, as well as previewing some of the events that are going to be coming up over the course of the next few weeks, and as the short track world gets ready to wrap up their 2025 season. But excited to be on here tonight and chat with a young driver that hails out of Freeport, Illinois. Hopefully going to be introducing this guy to a lot of race fans that maybe have never heard of him again. Happy to have Noah Eisenhower on with us again. Noah, we appreciate you taking some time to come on here and chat with us here tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I appreciate you taking the time, man. Now, Noah, you're a pretty incredible story. And just doing the little bit of research that I had to do just to make sure I had everything all buttoned up before I was able to have you come on here. We're going to talk about the Kulwicki program. It's one of my favorite programs in all of short track racing to promote young racers and give them an opportunity to get their name out there and maybe do a little bit extra, maybe get to travel a little bit as well. We'll kind of touch on that. And then we're gonna talk about some of the cool things that you're doing outside of the race car as well, because that's a huge part of that Kulwicki program. Is it's not just about what you're doing on track and in the shop, but about what you're doing in the community to help people, because that was huge for Alan, and I know that's big with Tom as well. But simply, I think the easiest way to get this started, I love hearing where young drivers get that first itch. What is the thing that leads them into racing? I know a lot of times it's with your family, but for you, what was it that drew you to racing and kind of got you into the karting scene?
Racing on dirt is what we started on, and a little bit of racing on dirt is what we started on, and a little bit of asphalt, not too much. I think allowed me to build that skill set early, along with, seeing what I wanted to do from asphalt or dirt standpoint, because here in the Midwest, we do have so many options to run, whether that be, IMCA modified later down the road or asphalt super late model or pro late model as I'm running right now. So just getting that start and having that, ingrained into my head of like, these are the pathway options that, can lead you step by step down the road a ways to, further develop your skills, I think was super important for me to get going at a super young age.
I tell you what, from being a guy from Florida, I'm super jealous of you Midwest guys, because you guys have so many great racetracks that are so close by to where you don't have to necessarily just pick one. You've got the opportunity with the way they do their scheduling throughout the season to pick and choose different tracks to get to go to. And I love how the tracks work together where, maybe one track's going to run on a Thursday or a Friday night. Somebody else is going to run on Saturday, and you can always go and run up at Slinger on a Sunday. What is it like for you trying to pick your schedule and trying to plan around that, because you have so many different options being where you're located on the different tracks that you can compete at?
Yeah, that's kind of something that we've been fighting this year, quite honestly. If you take into account that Rockford is no more, so Rockford being 30 minutes from us was super, super hard to take on the chin. So we looked elsewhere to go race, such as the Dells, Jefferson. So we went up to Slinger once, Golden Sands. We ended up doing a Triple Crown event up there, all three of the Triple Crown events actually up there. So it's been really hard dealing with the tire bank system that the Pro Late models have up here, with only getting, one tire a week or skipping a week and putting two on it the following week, and finding the races for the Kulwicki requirements that, have to have at least 50 laps to count them for points, and that meet all the criteria. It's been super difficult to, pick and choose the weeks that the Dells is going to have 50 lappers, and then we got to buy tires for there. And then we're going to go to Golden Sands, which are on American Racer tires. So it was super hard to deal with that this year, but we found a way to do it. And super, super happy that we were able to do so and, get the finishes that we could.
Now, you're a former Legends champion and the INX Legends in the Young Lions division. Kind of talk about, I love hearing drivers and their experience with the Legends cars, but because they run so many different events throughout the country, whether it be the summer shootout, at Charlotte or down in Atlanta or down here, you'll run like some winter national events where we're at down here in Florida. Just the opportunity that you get to get behind the wheel and all the laps that you get to log behind that. How valuable was that experience for you in all the years that you competed in those Legends cars?
Honestly, at the time between 2017 and 19, which is when I was competing in legend cars, I consider that, and I still say this to my friends a lot, is that was kind of peak INX legend cars around the Midwest, with the Tim Brockhouse clan, which is now Great North Legends, and then Legends Direct guys, and then the Wisconsin Tour at that time. We were all competing against each other every week at Jefferson and the Dells every other week on their schedule. So there was 40, 45 legend cars at Jefferson and Dells every other week. So that was only going to make me a better driver. I think the legend cars at that time would be Camber Cup Federal tires, the 1250 and the 1200 cc motor options that they had. Really taught you foot control and shifting, and also how to race without spotters. So at that time they didn't have spotters either. So just having that spatial awareness aspect that a lot of drivers really lack. And I still kind of feel myself using that spatial aspect to her of, maybe if my radio communications fail sometime in the late model and I got 50 laps left, I can get myself to the end of the race. I don't have to depend on the spotter. I can use spatial awareness, use my mirrors, use my ears, use my eyes to, pick my way through the field and, keep.
Is that what kind of initially led you into the dirt side? Because I know looking back at kind of your career, then you go from the Legends cars, you transition mostly to where you're just competing mostly in dirt initially. What was that like making that transition from the Legend cars going into and running dirt? Because I know a lot of people who have made that transition and they made it very, very quickly back to asphalt. But for you, what was it like to kind of go from the Legends cars and jump up into the dirt scene?
Yeah, it was a really fun thing. So that kind of stemmed from when we first bought our first Legend car. That car came with a spare chassis and a bunch of spare parts. So we ended up putting that one together as a backup car in case I wrecked our primary. And we set it up for dirt because we were going to go pick and choose a couple races for the Midwest Legend Dirt Series at the time. And go run Darlington and Maquoketa and Dubuque a couple times throughout the year for their fair specials. So putting that together was a really fun experience, and then actually getting to drive it. I think the first night we started 22nd at Dubuque and finished ninth. So being able to use my asphalt experience throughout the Legend car experience, and then applying that on a really really slick dirt track like Dubuque is. Dubuque gets super slick, especially during the summer months where they don't water it, and the bottom lane becomes very bottom dominant. I thought that was actually really helpful to my driving skills to, kind of help me at Jefferson a little bit too, with how tight and slow rolling that the bottom is at Jefferson. Yeah, kind of putting that aspect into my head of like, this is how you need to, roll on the throttle really slow to make sure you don't break traction and use very minimal brake or the least brake as possible. So having that experience in my back pocket, I think, is really helpful.
And then you've pretty much transitioned completely over into the asphalt side, going and running mostly, kind of a combination of both pro late model and super late models, even running some limited late model events as well. But kind of talk about running for Rookie of the Year at Dell's, a track where we get a lot of drivers that'll come down and run down south with us later in the year at the Freedom Factor, and they all say the same thing. They're like, "Man, it's just like running back home at the Dells." What is it about that track? It's a track that you've run a lot at. What is it about that track that stands out to you that it's kind of drawn you to want to compete there?
Yeah, so 2020 during COVID was my first year of late model competition. And those 2 years, 2020 and 2021, when I still was able to have a rookie status, I thought that was probably the toughest competition in the state of Wisconsin and also in the Midwest region. So no other way to get acclimated and get the skill set underneath you as quick as possible than kind of throwing you to the wolves. So Jesse Bernhagen competed there weekly for the last 3-4 years that we were competing there weekly as well. So you're only going to be as good as the people that you compete against, and I'm a firm believer in that. So getting to that track when I was early in the stages of late model competition, I think was only going to make me a better driver down the road. And Dells itself is a very tough track, especially now that they have concrete on both ends. The concrete in 1 and 2 is very bumpy, and then turn 4 has that really weird hump out of turn 4, really low on the bottom side. So playing the tires right, the tires are very weird. The D800 is not as consistent as we'd like it to be. So prime example of that was the Big 8 race up there that we just had in September. The outside lane was very dominant. I've never seen, besides one other night, where the top was the lane to pick at the Dells. So, I'm still working on the Dells 4 years, 5 years later in pro late models. I'm still struggling to get a win there. It's a sore subject for me to talk about, but yeah, but just having that experience with the Dells has been very nice.
Well, you're getting to race at some incredible racetracks where it just makes me want to take like a month off and just go tour the Midwest and just try to hit as many of these great tracks that you've been able to compete at over the last few years. And for us folks down here in Florida, we've gotten very acclimated with a lot of the Midwest drivers that have come down the last couple of years for the Bigley Memorial. It started out with just Majeski, and then the next thing you know, I know one point last year during the Bigley Memorial, our entire top 5 were drivers from the state of Wisconsin. So I know our Florida guys have got to step our game up a little bit. Let's kind of shift gears a little bit towards the Kulwicki program. I love this program. It's been around now for years, and it's been promoting some really, really talented young drivers. And to me, we'll talk a little bit about your colleges. It has the feel of like a fraternity, where once you're in this club, they don't ever seem to really, they don't forget about you. They don't move on from you. You almost become kind of part of the family. What drew you to getting into this program, and what was it like earlier this year finding out that you were going to be a part of this program in 2025?
Yeah, it was a really cool experience to, get that phone call at 9 in the morning. I was doing physics homework super late the night prior to that, so I almost missed the phone call. But, um, just having them behind you and supporting you has been really nice. And, they want to see you succeed as much as they want you, as much as you see yourself wanting to succeed. So, like you had mentioned, they treat everything like a brotherhood, like a fraternity, and they just kind of want to keep your legacy and kind of keep building on that. And, I wanted to kind of build my brand up a little bit too. So that was kind of my reason for applying and, getting my name out there. You never knew who was going to be reading that Facebook post or the announcement or on Racing America, even as big as Racing America is, and the Cup Series and Xfinity Series and the Truck Series. So, that kind of goes into tangency with my college and what I'm coming here for, and what kind of internships I might like to see myself trying to get here over the next couple of school years and years to come, and what kind of jobs, career employments that might lead into.
And I know the grand prize is obviously what everybody looks for. They want to win that championship, but even just that initial call at the beginning of the year, just even that little bit of additional funding at the beginning of the year can really go a long way. We've seen some drivers where they're going to take that money and they say, okay, we're gonna save that for maybe traveling and going to some different tracks, or we're going to take that money and we're going to hone in on our home track. What was your approach at the start of the year?
Yeah, we were kind of look to see if we can spread that out as much as we could.
Yeah.
The fact that tires in the bank system kind of kills it right off the bat, since you got to buy your 4 or 6 tires right off the rip for one track. I think we kind of spent that out one lot at Madison, since we ran Madison so frequently at the beginning of the year. But just trying to spread it as far as we can, and everyone knows racing is expensive these days, and money doesn't go as far as it used to, and I'm very understanding of that. So I try to take care of my equipment as much as possible to where we don't have to spend more money than we already are spending. And thankful enough, I haven't really tore much stuff up this year besides one nose and a couple of fenders.
That's better than most, buddy. I think you're doing a lot better than most, if that's what you can say. But what's so cool about the program is they want to help you on the racetrack. They want you to succeed, but they want to help you succeed off the racetrack, and they want you to grow your social media platform, but they want you to grow your outreach into your local community, into other communities. We're not going to shy away from it. Pretty famous last name there. You got a few ties into the military, and it was really exciting for me to see the type of groups and the type of people that you're looking to help. Talk about some of the veteran groups that you have been working with this season and some of the work you've been doing alongside them.
Yeah, Mark Finnegan, Vets Roll, founder of Vets Roll out of Beloit, Wisconsin. Was nice enough to email me back, and when I asked him to come on board the car this year and kind of have something that we could support and give a lot of funding to. So each lap that we complete for feature competition is going to be going towards Vets Roll, and has since probably the first week of July. So I was happy to get that back and happy to support such a great cause. That means so much to me. And my grandfather actually took that trip in, I think it was 2023, 2022, one of the two, with Mark Finnegan and all those guys. So I was happy to get that back and support something that means so much to me. And as both of my grandfathers have served in the Korean War and the Vietnam War. So that's really it. Just having something simple, I think, was super easy to get. That kind of allows me to be more passionate about something that I want to give back to. I feel more obligated to make a bigger difference than something else that didn't mean something super close to me.
Yeah, no, that's what you're doing, man. Keep doing it. And I feel like you're the type of person where this is just going to be more than just this Kulwicki program. I feel like this is something that you clearly have a passion for. Your family has a passion for it, and this is something that I think you guys are going to do for years to come. We'll talk a little bit about this year as we're getting ready to wrap up 2025. I know you've kind of described it as a little bit of a roller coaster ride, and sometimes a ride that you're not necessarily wanting to be on, but you've got a chance to close it out here. Oktoberfest is such a huge event up in the Midwest, as lacrosse is coming up here this weekend. Talk about what you've got planned for the remainder of 2025. Are you just honing in on that one event? Could we possibly see you maybe venturing down south to maybe some races? There's some big crown jewel events in the super late model and pro late model world that'll take place over the next couple of months as a driver that you're starting to kind of get your name out there. What's the rest of 2025 looking like for Noah Eisenhower?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to branch out. I'd love to branch out, just with school, I really can't take off that much. But we're gonna, put all our eggs in one basket this weekend at Oktoberfest. This is gonna be my first time competing at Oktoberfest. So we kind of got some question marks going into this weekend. I got something that works for Hawkeye Downs, so we're gonna try and unload with that and see if that works. We're gonna go from there. So I'm excited to go back to Oktoberfest. It was really fun, just going there and being able to experience the event itself. But competing is a whole nother aspect of it. So. There's a lot of guys there that run their weekly for the lacrosse late models, and they got a lot of laps there, and they're going to be really tough to beat and really hard competition. And we got to bring our A game and be on the ball.
Well, we'd love to see you down south. I got my Freedom Factory swag on here tonight. We got a big one we run every November there at the Bigley Memorial, and needless to say, the Midwest guys, they came down last year and they kicked our Florida guys' butts last year. So even if maybe you're not racing this year, maybe you might want to tag along with a buddy or two and come down and check that out. And maybe that's something we could maybe get on your schedule here in the next year or two. And then we appreciate you taking time. I mean, a busy college student as well. No big deal, just going for a mechanical engineering degree at Purdue University. That's no big deal, right? Trying to balance
That's what they all
say. Racing, nice and easy, right?
It's not easy. It is not easy at all.
Oh, Noah, I appreciate you coming on and taking some time. But before we let you go, you've got some great partners and great people that help you out. We appreciate Just Chillin' coming on and sponsoring this program throughout the season as well. Talk about it, man. It takes a village to get those race cars put together, to get them to the racetrack, and then to get them home. Who are some of the great people and the great partners that you have helping you along the way?
Yeah, got to start with my parents. My parents are my number one backers, grandparents as well, girlfriend, aunts, uncles, anyone in between, and family side, as well as a lot of my sponsors: Dan's Route 66 Service, Hooker Harness, Moss Roofing, Beltline Cafe. Who else we got? Lucas Group Financial, Slumberland Furniture, BarcoCars.com, and everybody else that's on this car that I can't thank them enough for sticking with me over 15, 16 years that we've been racing. I got a lot of sponsors that have been staying with me throughout my whole career of racing, which is super cool to see. And then a couple new sponsors that we've had come on in recent years too, that we're going to try and help grow with us.
Awesome. Well, no, you got a new fan in me, and I hope with this interview here tonight and a little bit more exposure, you're going to pick up some new fans as well. And we hope you have an awesome weekend coming up at lacrosse this weekend. Best of luck to you and your team at Oktoberfest as you guys wrap up your 2025 season. Look forward to seeing what you guys have planned in the future down the road, and best of luck at school. Don't work too hard, all right?
Hey, we'll try not to. Thank you.
All right. That's Noah Eisenhower joining us here tonight on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up and take a little look at what we've got coming up next week on the show. This is the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast.
Buying or selling a home? It's more than a transaction. It's a strategy. I'm Amy Lynn, and I bring clarity, confidence, and results to your real estate journey. Whether you're searching for the perfect place to call home or preparing to list your home for top dollar, I've got you covered. With smart marketing, strong negotiation, and a network you can trust, I don't just help clients close, I help them win. Let's make your next move the right one.
When the heat's on, chill harder with Just Chillin' cooling products. Stay frosty, keep it cool, keep it fast, just chillin'.
And we're back on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. Jake Wilson here. Just wrapped up a great conversation with Noah Eisenhower, driver from the Midwest that is going to be competing this weekend at the Oktoberfest race at La Crosse. Driver that is a part of the Kulwicki program, the development program, and the driver scholarship program there. Great to hear from a young man that's got a lot of great things going on right now with not only his racing career, but a lot of really cool things outside of the car. So it was great to chat with Noah here tonight. We hopefully wish him and his race team the best of luck this weekend at La Crosse. So next week we are going to be recapping some great races that come up this weekend. Again, we mentioned earlier the Cars Tour going to be in action at Tri-County Speedway as they get closer and closer to wrapping up their 2025 season. You're also going to have UARA national competition at Mobile International Speedway. It was Colin Allman just a couple of weeks ago that went to Victory Lane in the Frank Grill Memorial 112. Big payday for he and that group as he works his way up the money list and closer to a potential championship in 2025. You had Michael Atwell with a top 5 finish that night as well, still also moving up that money list as well. And remember, everything leading up to the final race of the season for the UARA National Tour with the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial 128 at the Freedom Factory coming up November the 29th. So we will hopefully get to hear from a driver or two, potentially from that UARA National race at Mobile International Speedway coming up. And we'll keep you updated on some of the big events that take place around the country and preview what's to come as the 2025 short track racing season comes to an end. We appreciate Noah Eisenhower coming on and taking some time with us. We appreciate you tuning in for another episode of the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. I'm Jake Wilson. Look forward to seeing you all back here again on another edition of the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. We'll see you then.
Buying or selling a home? It's more than a transaction. It's a strategy. I'm Amy Lynn, and I bring clarity, confidence, and results to your real estate journey. Whether you're searching for the perfect place to call home or preparing to list your home for top dollar, I've got you covered. With smart marketing, strong negotiation, and a network you can trust, I don't just help clients close, I help them win. Let's make your next move the right one.
Five-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
Race Car Engineering is your single source supplier for all your racing equipment. Dirt, asphalt, drag strip, street rod, or off-road. Their experts can keep you on the track and in the lead no matter what type of racing you do. Hundreds of brands, thousands of parts. Find them online at racecareng.com or call them toll free at 800-882-7231 and make sure to ask for your free catalog. That's Race Car Engineering, 800-882-7231.
When the heat's on, chill harder with Just Chillin' cooling products. Stay frosty, keep it cool, keep it